It should come as no surprise to progressives and the electorate in general that guys like Sean Hannity carry a lot of vitriolic hate in their heart when it comes to the president and to Democrats in general. Well, last night, Hannity took it to another level. I used to think Glenn Beck was as radical as you can get. Now, Glenn Beck, of course, was so radical that even Fox News had to separate themselves from him. Well, Sean Hannity seems to be carrying that torch for Glenn into the future. I turned over to the Fox network last night, and there's Sean right behind him in big, bold words, cover up. Well, apparently, Sean is still trying to milk and trying to exploit the terrorist attacks and the 4 people who died in the Benghazi attacks. Now, the families of the victims have expressed a concern and have basically begged that conservative media to just let their family members rest in peace. None of the family members think that the President of the United States wouldn't do all he could do to keep his team safe. It was a terrible tragedy. If you want to say your guy Mitt Romney could have handled it better, if you want to criticize the fact that this was allowed to happen at all, go for it. But when you try to pretend that there's a cover-up just so you can undo some political points that Mitt Romney lost in a debate because he tried to lie on national TV, you're making a fool of yourself, Sean. Now, Sean, I have a bigger issue with you as far as what you did last night. Yes, I'm talking directly to you, Sean Hannity. Last night, you called Chris Mathews out for playing the race card. Well, I've been watching Chris Mathews for years, and Chris Mathews has been a steward, almost like a policeman, to that race card which gets played all too often in politics. He's always stood up against it. When Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton kind of crossed that line, he called them out, even though he was loyal to the Clintons for years. He doesn't put up with it, and neither do I. Neither do progressives. And to try to deny that the GOP has taken that Southern strategy to a whole nother level this election cycle is just plain disingenuous. All you have to do is look at Newt Gingrich's comments where he referred to the president as the food stamp president. Now, any person who does their homework will know that most people on food stamps are in fact white. And most people on food stamps actually have a job. They just can't afford all their bills because of the wage disparity, a la the 99% versus the 1%. So to say that this is not a code to try to get ignorant, white, non-college educated voters to the polls based on this false perception they have of those lazy minorities is just flat out a lie. And Sean Hannity has been building his viewership for years based on that. That's where the main hypocrisy goes. Sean, what you have done, I've listened to your radio show, is you've had this big cat call to your viewers about building a fence and stopping illegal immigration. You never once mentioned the fact, as reported by your own Judge Napolitano on Fox News, the northern border, that's the Canadian border, is where most illegal immigration happens. They're never talking about building a fence to stop those people from coming in. Maybe because they speak English, maybe because they're not Mexican. It's obviously pitting one race against the other. And now, this election cycle, you had the presidential nominee come out with a series of ads that tried to lie and say that the president was going to take the welfare to work program and strip the work requirement out of it. Now, that was a lie, and you guys just supported on your shows. You've done it on your Fox show, and you do it on the radio. Sean Hannity, you've made a career, as has Glenn Beck, out of dividing people and taking that niche of uneducated white males and running with it. So please don't call Chris Mathews out when Chris Mathews has been a steward for human rights and equal rights.